book besties! Welcome to 2025, and in this episode I'm going to go through all the books I loved in 2024. I've read 132 books. What, how, why, which, who. Full disclosure, I did read some on the Kindle and I listened to some, so I did audiobooks and ebooks as well. And we all know it's really, really easy when you have an ebook to just skim through that thing. For some reason, it's just easier to read an ebook quicker. 2024 was a big year for me. I feel like this was my year of reading. I got into A Court of Thorns and Roses series, Throne of Glass, The Cruel Prince, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Belladonna. This was a big year for reading for me. So it was like I spent 2024 trying to catch up on all the years I wasn't reading anything. Did anyone else read one book during coronavirus and then, I don't know, just never stop, but hadn't read before that period in like 10 years? So yeah, I felt like I was doing a lot of catching up. I would put Iron Flame at top of my list this year, but I read it in 2023. Got it for Christmas in 2023, and then I read it within a couple of days because it was so good. And then Onyx Storm will probably make the 2025 best reads list because, come on, anything Rebecca Yarros writes is amazing. 12 books that I think were great in 2024 that kind of filled the void of Full Swing and Iron Flame. But there was a void left by one of these series that cannot be fathomed. I've not been able to figure out how to feel okay again since it ended. I haven't found a book that hits that same spot. Now, is it because I just started reading again and everything was like, whoa? Or was it just that great of a series that nothing else can compare? So I'm probably going to put in 12th place, probably Phantasma. I think I'm saying that right. That book really, really surprised me. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I read that on Kindle, so naturally I flew by. I read it towards the end of 2024, and I find that it really was something special. I thought it was different. I loved the gothic angle. I really, really enjoyed Phantasma, and I'm looking forward to the second one. 11th place. 11th place, I'm going to put... Now, I know I said fantasy romance. I'm going to actually put The 7 Year Slip. I really, really enjoyed that. I listened to that on audiobook, and that had me going. I really wanted to know. I think the writing, I know I was listening to it, but it's the same. The writing was so addictive that I just could not stop reading it. Listening to it. So The 7 Year Slip, I'm putting it at 11. 10. I feel like I'm doing one of those blind rankings on TikTok and I should have prepared more and I'm going to put something wrong, so bear with me. 10. So hard because these were all so special to me, these series. 10, I will put in the Cruel Prince. I think. No. Really love that. Well, I'll put it in at 10 for now and then we'll come back to it. So The Cruel Prince, I read the first book and it didn't capture me straight away. And then I saw a quote, I think I've discussed this somewhere already. I saw a quote online and I was like, I'm getting back in this book. It was a little enemies to lovers, because I think in the first book, the enemies to lovers weren't enemy to lover in as much as I wanted them to. And you know when you just immediately want to know, is there going to be romance in this book? And The Cruel Prince is different. I think the other books I've read, it's focused a lot on political agendas more than it is the romance. But I do think they do enemies to lovers really, really well, because you do truly think that the couple in it will never get together. He is horrible to her to start with. Horrible. But, yeah, as you can imagine, it grows, and the things he says to her are so good. So some of the lines from Carden to Jude, with the letters, and then just Jude as a character as well is unreal. Probably one of my favourite ever female man characters. So I think I'm doing an injustice at 10, but out of 132 books, in perspective, it's looking kind of good. Actually, I need to switch. I'll put Cruel Prince in at 9. I won't go through it all again. 10, I'm putting in A Cult This Cruel and Lovely. Also listened to it on audiobook, this first one. I was like, wow, this is great. Naturally, I went for it because I saw A Cult, and we'll get onto it, but another series has that in, and I loved, so the marketing to that absolutely sold me. So I caught This Cruel and Lovely, I'll put that in at 10. I listened to the first one in audiobook, and then I did a weird little switch just to, save some money. Then I got it on Kindle for 99p, then I listened to the audiobook again, and then I think I got the last one. Oh no, I also listened to the last one on audiobook, so that was a real mix and match. I would love to own the books for the bookshelf eventually, because I think they are fabulous books. Really, really good series. I thought there were 5 books. So when the 4th one was coming to an end, I was like, everything's really happy. Surely something bad's going to happen. But no, I was just being an idiot. So 4 books in the series. Really, really good. It follows a girl. Oh my God, you know when you read a book and you have absolutely no idea what was actually happening in it, but you just knew the essence of it was good? That's all I can offer you. It was really, really good. 8th place, I'm going to put Binding 13. I really, really, really like this book. I'm trying to think whether it is actually better than the others. Okay, scratch it. I'm putting Binding 13 at 10. And I'll tell you why. I haven't read the second one yet. The others I feel like I committed more to. The Cruel Prince. So I'm going to put 10 in Binding 13 because I thought it was really, really addictive, and I thought it was really, really well written. And you really can imagine, and there's this sense of doom that happens. First ever book I've read that's been set in Ireland. And I really, really, really just got the sense of doom, that something bad was going to happen the whole time. The characters are well written, the side characters are well written. They set up, I know that later on in the series, the main characters get the side characters get a main character role. So that's set up really, really well because you're already rooting for them. So I'm putting that in at 10. I'm sorry, this is the most chaotic thing ever. So 10 Binding, 9 This Cruel and Lovely, 8 The Cruel Prince. So 7, I'm going to put in One Dark Window. I loved One Dark Window. I tell you, I love a gothic fantasy romance. One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Is that the name of it? Oh my God, they were really, really good. I read them while on holiday on the Kindle. But those books hit different. Really, really love those books. So it follows these kinds of... I tell you, I struggled to get to grips with the cards and the magic. For some reason, that couldn't wrap around my brain. I mean, I've been reading about fairies and dragons and mystical worlds, but the cards holding power, I couldn't get to grips with at first. But I came round to it. I kind of started to understand it. The main love interest is great. The main character is great. I'm also trying to remember a single thing that happened. I think I really like this book because the one thing that really, really made me like this book was the voice inside her head. So the monster inside her actually made this book 100 times better for me. Don't be cringed out. Give me a bit of Tarn in Fourth Wing speaking inside her head. So I really, really like the monster in that one the most. And I think that's what puts that in 7th place. 6th place, I'm putting the Book of Azrael, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm now 3 books into the series and I absolutely loved it. I think it was really, really good. If you've read the Crescent City series, it's very, very similar to that. And that's what I struggled with the most, was I read the Book of Azrael up to book 3. I think the 4th one's coming out this year. And then I went back to the 3rd Crescent City, and I swear to God, the story's just blurred together for me. It took me a while to readapt. So if you love that, then you will absolutely love the Book of Azrael. Such a good series. The female main character is great. The male main character is great, but it's basically the premise is angels versus demons versus, a greater evil. fifth place, I'm going to put Once Upon a Broken Heart. I love this series, and it does deserve higher up, but I'm telling you, we're getting to peak book series now. Once Upon a Broken Heart was great, especially the second and third book. I mean, the first one is great, but when Jax is more involved in it, and obviously there's that absolutely amazing line that he says to her. That is also a great enemies to lovers book. And I think the 3 books combined are great. And then when Apollo starts getting involved by the 3rd book, it's getting crazy. So I really, really, really recommend this book. If you like fairy tales, and if you like a bit of darkness to your fairy tales, great. Quote is, there is nothing of greater value to me. I think that's it. What a quote. What a quote. Jax is such a good main character. And I just think the development of him. I have started Caravel. I think I'm on the 3rd book. I've just bought Finale. For me, I can't get into it as much as Once Upon a Broken Heart, but Jax is now in it. So I'm going to finish it and I'll get back to you. In 4th place, I'm going to put the Belladonna series. This series surprised me the most. I was in Cambridge and saw Belladonna, this book on the side. I think it was reduced to £3 or something. I'd seen it online here and there, but nothing as hyped as stuff like Fourth Wing and A Court of Fallen Roses. I saw it, £3 in this small little bookshop. I bought it, and one of the best decisions I ever made. It was such a good book series, and I really did think by the end how they were going to sum it up, because there were so many loose ends, but I really think the author, Aelin Grace, did a really, really good job of tying up all the loose ends in the end. It's a 3-book series. I do have another video on it because I honestly was so surprised. I really, really do love a gothic fantasy romance. I think 3 books in this series are that genre. So I really, really would recommend Belladonna for a bit of a refresh, a bit of a palate cleanser. It's definitely different to everything else on this list. And honestly, it's great. And Death is the love interest. Doesn't get much better than that. Before we go into the top 3, I do want to note some series I've started that haven't made the list because I haven't got that far into them, but might make the 2025 list, which I've heard great things about. So I started the Zodiac Academy. Everyone raves about this. For me, maybe it's because I just wasn't in the right mindset. It hasn't started out that strong, but I do think it will get better. And the guy in it, what's his name? The Professor? I see good things happening for him. So I don't know too much about it. I know that the series is really, really long. So I just need to be in the mind space to commit to another series that long after Throne of Grass. So Zodiac coming, and I did finish Shatter Me. That was also another really, really hyped book series. And I smashed through that really quickly. So I feel like I didn't appreciate it at the time. So it is a series I'll probably go back and reread, especially now they're re-releasing another installment in the future. And Aaron Warner is, Book Talk's #1 book boyfriend. So it is 100% a series I will revisit. But for me, the first time around, it didn't hit as much as the other series, but it's all just preference, right? And I do think if I give it some time, like I did The Cruel Prince, I'll probably go back through and love it. But 132 books, we all know I was, by the end of it, not feeling refreshed. The scariest book I read this year, considering I read Talking with Serial Killers, Dead Man Talking, was Verity by Colleen Hoover. I read that very early on in the year. I bought it from 66 Books because I liked the gold cover. That actually terrified me. And I read The Sanatorium. I read some scary books this year. And for me, that was terrifying. And there's also lots of books that I can't really remember what happened. Like Serpent and Dove. And there's some books that I've just purely forgotten. But I also started the Elsie Silver romance series, Reckless, Powerless, but I great books. I do start to think though that romance perhaps is not fully for me. I love a romance book, but I don't think I can commit to a romance book series. I don't know why. I think the enemies to lovers quote has got me in a chokehold. So if there's no enemies to lovers, there's no one bed, there's no war that they have to fight, no dragons, then for me, I just can't stay interested in it. So I've read 3, or maybe even, I think 2, and I haven't finished. I think they're behind me somewhere. Okay, let's do top 3. In 3rd place, I'm putting Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I love this book series so much, mostly because of the main characters. I think Lauren Roberts does a really, really great job of setting up Kai and Payden's love story. And I think having Kit there creates that love triangle aspect, and I just think it is a really, really good story. I like that there's the prequel that tells from her friends' narrative towards the beginning and kind of sets up characters that might reappear in the last one. But Kai is so beautifully written, and Payden's story is great, and how Powerless ends is crazy, and then how Reckless ends is also crazy. So I'm just excited for the next one that comes out in April, which will probably get the 2025 Book Awards also. Now we're in the big leagues. Obviously, we're going to count these as series, not as just one book. This was a really, really hard choice to make, and will probably garner me a lot of debates online. I would put them joint first if I could, but that's just not how it works. So 2nd place, I'm going to put Throne of Glass. I know a lot of people will think that deserves 1st place. And look, if I could join them up, I would. Throne of Glass was an epic. It was crazy. Oh, I don't want to give any spoilers away because everyone just has to experience it for themselves. Shout out to my main man, Dorian. And you cannot just pick and choose what parts of her to love. I think, how many books is it in the end? 1, 2, 3, is it 7? 8 books. And that is a real commitment. I think I've read them earlier on in the year, so now I've pretty much forgot everything that happens, especially in Air of Fire. I feel like I just needed it to be over. I needed to know what happened. But the fact that it's a finished series, there'll be, I imagine, no more to that series. But as you know, with Sarah J. Maas, there could be other books that tie into it, without saying too much. But I think it's just crazy, and it's like going on a complete journey. It starts from number 2, and then the first one's considered a prequel. There are many debates to how you should read them, how you should go in order. I started literally with Assassin's Blade first, which really gave me the backstory of who Selena was and her relationship with Sam. I feel like you can really start the story. Apparently you're supposed to read it 3 or 4 books in. I didn't. I think just Google it. It's whatever you prefer. There's a lot of different POVs, so you are flitting from character to character a lot. It is a really, really well built out story. Of course, it's Sarah J. Maas. And then you do get favourites. So your favourite is Selena, and then it becomes Aelin, and then I loved Manon. By the end of it, loved Manon, loved Dorian. But I can't say too much because spoilers. You guessed it. In number 1 place, I don't actually have the series here because I lent it to my friend and have forced her to start it, is A Court of Thorn and Roses. Now, I know it's not a fully fledged series. Damn it! Now, I know it's not a fully fledged series. I know there's still more to go. I know there's a lot of weavings happening. But it was the first series after Fourth Wing and Iron Flame that I really, really loved. That afterwards I thought there was a complete void that could not be filled. And I do genuinely think your Throne of Glass and Akata depends on which one you read first, which one you love more, because it's whatever one you're opened up to. So I really, really love A Court of Thorn and Roses because it instilled again my love for reading. And I love Beauty and the Beast, which is obviously the first one is a retelling of. And yes, spoilers ahead, the first book afterwards, I was like, Tamlin, what a guy. How mistaken I was. And then I do consider the first 3 as separate to the second 2. The 4th one is like a nice little Christmas story. And then the fifth one, you're restarting the story again. I would say it's like starting another series because you've got two main characters. It's not any better, it's not any worse, it's just a different story, and it's whatever you prefer. But I really, really enjoyed the first three books. I was hooked. I think as soon as I started getting to the end, I would be ordering the next one. I just haven't had anything like that in a long time. So Court of Thorn and Roses, number one for sure. If I Am Flame had been released in 2024, that 100% would have got top place. But 2024, A Court of Thorn and Roses, what a book series.